starting the podcast is always the hard part because you get tripped up trying to script yourself introducing.
Well, you want to get off on the right foot.
Yeah, well, let's try again. Everyone, this is Trey Henderson with the Fredericksburg Regional Chamber of Commerce, Director of Next Gen. This is Next Gen Unscripted. Today I'm joined by Jacob Lysher of SimVentions. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Just hanging.
Dude, thanks so much for coming. We are going to talk today all about, honestly, Jacob a lot. A little bit about SimVentions and, of course, Next Gen and some great stuff going on, some events coming up. And as well, 2025, I know it's a month in, but it feels like it's still brand new. I don't know for you, but January is a whirlwind. So we'll talk about
the weather out there tells us it's still January, So
it's back and forth. It was like 60 and then it snowed. We're going to get more snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Jacob, you are a systems engineer. As someone who's never been in government contracting, what the heck is a systems engineer?
Yeah, so I really do hate explaining the job title because
does it sound boring?
Well, it's probably sounds cooler than it is, but it's just a hard description. It's kind of a catch-all. It sort of says, hey, you solve whatever problem there's needed. So there's system engineers who are a little bit more program focused, so do more of the financial side and putting engineers in the right place at the right time. And then there's system engineers that do more of like science across the sciences. And that's really more of what I do is, I'm a little bit of mechanical, a little bit computer science, computer engineering, and antenna systems. So, and then just understanding kind of all aspects of, of our warfighting system. So they're complex. And so you need systems engineers to kind of bring them all together.
Right. Okay. Interesting. I see what like a project management almost, but you have a lot more hard and technical skills that you work with there. What I find funny with the system engineer and you being on the Next Gen committee is like significantly the most different job, I think, of everyone that's on the committee. Like everyone that's on the committee has very your job's people facing, but very like client driven and such. And it's just awesome talking with you. It's like, oh, this man is he's just a system engineer, working with a lot of tech. And obviously you have clients and contracts and such and all that. But
yeah, well, that's what's been great for me to be a part of the Next Gen is it really is kind of opened the aperture, opened my eyes to folks that don't talk. And, the acronym soup, that's what we call it in the
Soup.
DOD. Yeah, so everyone just talks in acronyms all day and you just sort of assume everybody knows what you're talking about and understands all this aspect of the DOD talk. And
so you guys are aware of that because I'm always the same thing. I'll hear people say those terms like I have no idea. Like I know what DOD is, but other ones I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I mean it's easy to get caught up in it, and it's really nice to talk to other professionals and get that insight onto other businesses and what they're doing, and it really does stretch my system engineering brain because now I'm not just doing system engineering of defense military systems, but it's really like stretching my brain to now thinking about all the different types of businesses that are around the Fredericksburg region and what they're thinking about and the common problems we have. And so it's really like systems engineering of systems engineering. So it's like
twofold,
another layer.
That's really cool. I haven't thought about it that way for you. And I'm guessing everyone, everyone's unique and comes with their different perspectives and careers. And that's the beauty of this program is learning about that. Like your job has very little in common with Kev McCandlish, the lawyer, right? Mm-hmm. Shout out Kev. So it's really cool. I don't know, just for y'all to probably meet and talk about that. And he doesn't know your DOD terms. And I will say though, those acronyms, when you learn one and you get to use it, makes you feel really cool. That's my favorite feeling.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're speaking like a whole new language. So it helps me a lot because I can hardly speak the English language well. So when I get to shorten it, it's kind of like, who's Kevin in the office? Was it Kevin in the office that few word do trick?
Few word do trick. I love that quote. I love that quote. All righty. So systems engineer, how did you get there and how did you get to SimVentions? Tell me a teeny bit about your professional journey a bit.
So I went to Virginia Military Institute and graduated 2015. And I guess backing up a little bit before that, I had been looking for summer internships. I had done undergraduate research and I was just trying to think about what I wanted to do in the future. And I thought it was grad school. I thought I was just going to kind of continue on the education path. And my dad said, you should look over at this company, folks that I've worked with before.
That's SimV?
At SimV, and that, seemed like really good people. They'd played, basketball together and come across each other at work. And so, I was like, sure thing. So, and then, kind of got excited talking to the folks, about coming over to work. And I did a summer internship, and I was like, I'm sold. I was like, I'm good on this whole grad school thing. I want to get right to work. I loved, the work environment. I loved,
it's
people.
cool there.
Yeah.
Really cool there.
Yep. Can't beat the commute. Fredericksburg based company, so, and that, being from here kind of really, really sparked my interest on that. So
I didn't realize you were from here.
Yeah. Born and raised South Stafford. So
South Stafford. Did you went to Stafford High or
Stafford High School? Yep. Go Indians. So
cool, man. I didn't know that. Okay, cool. And you've only ever had a salaried position then with SimV?
Yeah, that's kind of what makes me, I guess, an oddball, or in today's world, to be that I've stayed with the company for, I'll be going on full time here over 10 years.
10 years, man.
Soon.
Good for you, man.
So yeah,
Good for you.
I mean, I've changed jobs within the company a lot. They provided a lot of great opportunities, to dig into, different avenues. So, kind of gotten to grow with the company. So when I started as an intern, it was less than 100 people, and now we're over to 400. So it's kind of, while I haven't changed companies, I feel like I've had the opportunity to kind of grow and move and do some different things. So it's been an awesome experience. But back to your original question, how I got into the system engineering part was, so there was no real like mechanical engineering, which was my degree, positions that were really at SimVentions. We weren't, manufacturing or building things you imagine when you're in school. So it kind of forced me to stretch my brain and to work on more software centric systems. And I started having a lot of fun just in the unique, the different challenges. Okay, I didn't learn about this in school, and now I'm having to learn about this on the fly, for my job. And that's what really system engineering is all about. And so they had great systems engineers. They set me up with a fellow by the name of Wayne Mills when I first got to SimVentions. And I used to joke when you go to the meetings, I was like, the great news is SimVentions brings 41 years of system engineering experience to this team. Okay. And I was like, the only problem is Wayne is 40 of that, and I'm one. So,
all right, shout out to Wayne, 40 years. Okay. Well, you get to bring in that brand new perspective. That's why you're next gen. Wow. So that, I'm impressed. That was a very short. That's why I asked, wait, it's just SimV, and that's like you said, that is kind of rare. I don't know the actual data, but to my knowledge, I think most people leave their first job after 2 years or before. So that's very impressive. Obviously, you probably had some change somewhat with your role there after 10 years, but very impressive to stick with there. But I don't blame you. SimV is great. Like you said, the culture is wonderful. Can't beat the commute.
Yeah, can't beat the commute. So.
Can't beat the commute. Yeah, man, great.
But when it comes to doing the next gen, what really got me excited is
why'd you want to be a part of this?
Well, it's the same, it's
how did I convince you?
Yeah, how did you convince me? Well, we can get to that, but being a part of a group like this and being from Fredericksburg, I love to see the growth around here, and I am a really big fan of this place. I mean, it's a perfect fit in terms of it's got, plenty of Targets and shopping centers and restaurants and things to do in downtown. But at the same time, it's not overwhelming.
That's a great point. It's never felt that way, overwhelming.
Yep. And so I love it here. And that's what's, you talked about this on some of the previous podcasts, but what makes, a next gen person, want to go up north. And, some people, different things appeal to different people, but I've always been surprised as to the lack of number of my peers and friends and folks as I've grown up, not staying around in the area.
Right. Okay.
And so I'm always I'm invested in helping folks to see, the value and the opportunities that are around here, so that it's not just, well, I couldn't find a job around here.
That's right. That's what they all say. Yeah.
That's kind of the default answer. And my question is too, is like, well, if we got more folks that are in the next gen that are commuting up north, you know, maybe they come to a next gen event and they say, oh, wow, these people have, you know, found opportunities in exactly what I'm interested in, or something kind of related that I might be interested in.
Right.
And how exciting that would, be. And so I really just like am excited to provide folks, you know, that it applies to, like folks that did grow up here, or, you know, have kind of moved into the area, and like seeing that like Fredericksburg has a lot to offer, and that that you can find great places to work, like SimVentions here. And so
we have tons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone has that view of their hometown. You know, they view it as all their old high school friends that didn't find a great job. It's like, no, a lot of them are finding great jobs here. I met someone from Paris, and they said the same thing. Like, I just had to leave my hometown. Like, there's nothing to do. It's like, dog, you live in Paris. It's like the capital of the world.
Yeah.
Where else is, I mean, some people don't love Paris, but still, like, what, you know, like nothing to do. Like, like, do you not love art and food? So, I mean, people always say about their hometown, and Fredericksburg obviously is smaller than Paris, but we have stuff to do, and it's beautiful. There's a lot of great facilities and jobs, and
you're close.
Fred Nats is here. They're a ton of fun. We got all these things to do.
Yeah, you're close to a lot of stuff. I mean, you're not far from the beach. You're not far from the mountains. You're
not far from the nice airports in DC, and get you know, hop around
and go. And then if I could put in like a plug, I mean, I grew up probably 7 minutes from the downtown, Old Town Fredericksburg. And when I moved out and I moved into the downtown Fredericksburg area, you know, it was like a whole new experience. I mean, you think you know Fredericksburg because you grew up here, and you really do start to realize that there's so many niche places and things and people and events. Yeah. And you just can't keep track of it all. And so,
and we'll talk about that a bit later too, when we bring up the 805 and the volunteer thing.
We are one of those events. We are one of those things.
Yeah, we are one of the things to do. I've not thought about that way. We're a reason to be around. Well, awesome, man. I forgot to mention our icebreaker. We are recording this on February 14th. It is Valentine's Day, y'all. That's supposed to be our icebreaker. We're 10 minutes in, but Jacob, you're a married man, yeah?
Yeah, just married last May, so.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, y'all got a hot date? Any fun plans?
No, we're pretty simple. You know, we'll probably stay in, crack open a bottle of wine, and watch our new show right now is Desperate Housewives. So
big Desperate Housewives guy.
Yeah, actually, it's been great. I think we're in season 4 right now, so it's certainly been a kind of a perfect little entertaining show. You know, my wife is more into like the social and the kind of fun ones you don't think too much, and I'm into the ones that make you think. And so it's kind of a nice little blend of
interesting.
Of that. So I like the character development. I like the progression, you know, but at the same time,
good date
it's
night
like
show too.
Yeah. You don't have to like lock in on it though. That's the thing. So, but
good.
Yeah.
Okay. My show right now is Severance.
Oh, okay.
It's incredible. It's so good. So good.
Yeah.
It's on Apple TV, and new episode came out last night. I haven't been able to watch it yet, but all day I'm just thinking about it and avoiding spoilers on my phone and stuff. Yeah, man. Okay. Well, cool. Happy Valentine's Day to y'all. We'll move forward. And hopefully her name's Molly. Yeah.
Molly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she, like you, was in the teaching profession and recently moved out, and, you know, as a lot of folks have. So
where is she now?
She's at SimVentions.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, she joined the family business, I guess. So
yeah. Were you her reference?
Yeah, I did get the reference, I think. So, but she's at a different office, so we do not ride to work together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need that time to myself.
I was gonna say, even then, you probably want to decompress alone.
Yeah, I need that time on the way in and on the way out to
good for you.
Get my mind right.
You got to put on your music, you know, or podcast, or jam out, whatever you need to do in your car alone, and someone might ruin that vibe, even if it's your wife, you know.
Yeah, but it's
sorry, Molly.
Yeah, sorry.
She'll understand. Okay, buddy. Well, let's move forward. So we're a little bit into the new year. It's February. It's only a month and a half in, and to me, January was just a blur. So I want to record this podcast earlier and ask you, you know, talking a bit about New Year's stuff, because one of our events coming up is the 805. What is 805? It's a new series of events we want to try out. Just like our 505, the social networking, that's, after hours. But 805 is 805 a.m. It's in the morning. We're doing it at Anita's Cafe. It's the 27th, 8 to 10 a.m., but stop in. You can come for 30 minutes, 5 minutes, and just have a cup of coffee. It's the free cup of coffee if you just do drip. Anything else, it would be on you. But one of the things we do while we're there, we're not just sitting there talking networking. We're asking specific questions, and that question is, we have two. Those questions are, what did you learn in 2024? And what are you excited about in 2025? Or what are you looking forward to? What are your goals for 25? Jacob, I want to ask you that, sir.
Okay, so starting on 2024, it wasn't quite as exciting as, your travels and Andrew's travels that he was, talking about, and career changes. But, I did have some big life events in 2024. So getting married, buying my first house, those were two.
Yeah.
So
that's huge. I didn't know you bought your first home.
Yeah, I did it all within the same month. So that was, yeah.
Okay.
Would not recommend. Just kind of worked out the timing of that. So those were kind of our, the wedding was scheduled. So that was, an obvious part of 2024. Right. But, buying the house was definitely something that we made a goal. And, Sophia talked about that in a previous podcast as well, that it's definitely a challenge.
Buying the home, you said?
Yeah.
Especially your first.
The going through the process. I mean, and that's what's, that's why I like these next gen type events. It's not just like the professional, everybody thinks like we're shaking hands and sharing business cards and, and talking shop, but it's, it's a lot of that, like, hey, I just went through this. I know this is something that you're probably going through. And here's the things I wish I would have known. You can have that quick, relation. It doesn't matter that I'm a system engineer and you work over at the hospital. We can have those conversations because we're kind of all in the same boat in a lot of ways in terms of where we want to live and do you want roommates and, this and that, right? So it's.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I like talking about those types of things at these events, and so I think that was my personal, I guess, goals, and then.
Well, I'm glad to be a part of it, and that's the beauty that everyone can go and accomplish that at these events. So it's so cool that it was impactful for you. Yeah. And obviously buying a home and getting married at the same time. Don't recommend. You said.
No.
Yeah, separate those two.
Nope.
Split them up a bit.
Put some distance in there because that's a lot of work to be moving boxes the same week that you're getting married. So
one of my good friends, they bought a puppy. For whatever reason, puppy, I don't know, arrived day of their wedding. It's a terrible idea. Like they're going on a honeymoon and like they have this like tiny little Shih Tzu. Robbie, I'm talking about you. Like what do you? I don't know. It's just like you're so busy. Like they were getting dresses on. It might have even been the day before. Yeah, they have a Shih Tzu puppy, and it was just a nightmare to deal with during your wedding. I imagine this is a brand new dog. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's as much work as a new house is taking care of a dog. So
yeah, 8-week-old or whatever they are when they come around.
Yeah.
So is that all 24 or do you have anything else?
So then professionally, it wasn't, I was kind of working, they call it, matrixed, but basically, in the contracting world, it'd be, you're working on two different projects. So you're taking your skill set and you're applying half your time on something and half time or quarter time on something, 3/4 time on something. And so I was split 50-50 on two different projects. And what I really wanted to do in 2024 was sort of figure out kind of which direction I wanted to move in terms of these projects and move more into one of them so I could really focus all of my energy and effort. Because when you're split 50-50, you sort of feel like you're not really giving your all to either one of them. Or you feel like you're giving 75-75 and then you're really, overworked on certain things.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Okay.
Yeah, so I had to I kind of had to sort of see how that was going, and a lot of it was riding on one particular project that was sort of in a up and down state in terms of where it was going and where things were heading, and so and then that just exploded, right about the same time I was getting married, and so
buying a house.
Yeah, and buying a house. So then I had to, not a significant, but made a pivot into, a new role and full time on one of the projects. And so, and then that really led into like, okay, I need to professionally, I need to be now invested and figure out what I'm going to now do, that I'm 100%, on this project, and make sure that, I'm using that time valuably and supporting the customer, and ultimately, as we do at SimVentions, across our projects, supporting the warfighter, because that's, really what it comes down to. So
yeah, I guess so. I've never really thought about it that way for you, but yeah, all the way down to the warfighter.
Yep. Got to keep got to keep them in mind. So that's ultimately who we're, trying to help. So
yeah, it's a bummer too. Like I bet sometimes with these contracts, you have no choice but to get overworked a little bit, and just having to manage that. And what better way to manage that than a bottle of wine and what was it, Desperate Housewives?
Desperate Housewives. Okay.
Yeah, that's how you avoid getting overworked.
Yeah.
I don't know what your true respite is from that. What would you say? What do you do when you feel like you really need to get some stress out?
So I guess it depends on what kind of stress. If it's kind of like you got energy and you need to get it out, I like to run. So
you're a runner?
Yeah, I ran in college, and but that's really more of like a training. It's kind of like it's really close to like people that like to go lift weights at the gym. I like to train when I run, but then if I like to leisurely do something but still kind of try at it, it's golf. So kind of two ends of the spectrum there. Those are the two.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you need. Do you need a decompression after a long day? It's probably I'd probably go the golf route, head over to the Fredericksburg Country Club, where I joined a couple of years ago.
Yeah. We love it there.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like home away from home there. And then, but then if you need to get real energy out, for me, it's the running. So
running. I keep saying this. I've DJ their events all the time, and I never see you there, man. Got to get you out sometime. You haven't seen me DJ yet.
That's because it's where I go to decompress. And as an engineer, I'm not as social, so I want to go out and hit the golf ball.
Gotcha. You're not going for the parties. Okay. I see you, buddy. Yeah. I see you. Well, let me ask you about 2025. What are your goals? What are you looking forward to, buddy?
So I think, in the last year, I did a good job on this new project, establishing myself, a little bit more. I think in 2025, I want to be more product focused. So as a system engineer, a lot of times you're running around, you're basically putting out fires, is the term we use all day. So you're just dealing with problems as they come. I want to focus more on getting ahead of things and trying to look for creating solutions that we're not even thinking about, that aren't part of it's not reactionary. It's something that you're working towards. I think that, and then our team is grown. So, supporting Dahlgren, the Naval Warfare Center down there. And then, we provided great support as a team, as a government and SimVentions team. And so we've expanded our team, and I think a lot of it is trying to help the new folks that are on the team, come up to speed and come into their own, and try to make sure that, you get time to do those proactive projects, that be proactive, and you're not just putting out fires when you have other firefighters there to help you, so they can take, one problem, and you take the other problem, and then they're kind of coming into their own, and then you're able to spend that time to do, the next thing, rather than, just one man show kind of thing. So I think that's kind of professionally what I'm working into this year. So
that's the beauty. If you can delegate, obviously it's always way better. Learning how to do that can be, difficult depending on certain skills and tasks, and you can do it yourself, but you can't do everything by yourself. You need to have the teamwork there. And yeah, absolutely.
And you should well understand that as we enter into our second year of the next gen, know.
Absolutely. I've learned, honestly, we'll talk a little bit about me. I definitely learned about trusting and working with other people better as a team. I took a lot of pride with Next Gen, and the events have gotten a lot better, and the community's gotten a lot better just when I'm able to delegate and have people work on something. And sometimes that's nothing. I want you guys to go to an event and just enjoy yourself as the committee. And sometimes I'm like, hey, I haven't had you speak yet, but eventually something like that will come up. I'm like, hey, Jacob, I need you to speak, or I need you to run registration. Something like that will come about. So yeah, absolutely. I've definitely learned how to do that. As well too. Similar to that, like you have to kind of learn to trust but verify. Um, Working with vendors and your own team. I think you will never ever regret over communicating and double checking. If either A, someone finished something, or B, they know how to do it, or that they did do it, I think is always very beneficial to work with people and just get that little extra guarantee in there. You can still delegate it, but it's nice to go and help. And sometimes they just want you to help them, or they need help.
So yeah, that's what I was thinking about. You were in such a tough spot, I think, starting with the next gen, because you're working with a whole new. You're not coming onto an existing program that's really been well established and has people that have been on it for a while and stuff. You were coming in, so you had to you had to form your own team and learn as you're going, and so that's just a ton. I just and it's funny, when you first came to talk to me about the next gen, I just kept thinking, I was like, this is going to be tough to get off the ground. It's a lot of work, and are you going to have folks that are are committed to doing things and helping push that. And it's been such a cool experience to see a group that's not just on paper, hey, this sounds like a good idea, but actually really expanding and doing it, and actually like walking the walk,
achieving the potential. Yeah, that's a good point. I think about it, because for you, like, you're looking at like ground zero, like, and you're probably asking yourself, what was the potential and what is realistic, and thank God you trusted it and stuck around. I don't know, like, you've definitely been wildly helpful. But and Action did used to be quite large in the 2010s and such, but after COVID, it went quite dormant. So there was some building blocks and a lot of people and some programs here and there, but you're right, a lot of it is brand new. I personally wanted to start with a new slate, just being independent and creative in my own ways. And it's great to have a committee that's full on, and they're invested. So that's awesome.
So now we enter into like the first year is we were kind of figuring it out, stumbling through, and and we talked about this amongst ourselves as committee members, but I was, I'll just reiterate, I was wildly impressed with the success and the commitment and and then the support from the community. I mean, the sponsors, the folks who attend, all the folks that attended, these events, it really did come together better than I ever thought it could in the first year, in kind of version 2 first year. But then, and then now we enter the year 2. It's like, now the expectation, now
it's there.
Now what I thought, I thought we would have been maybe by the end of year 2 where we're at in 1.
That's awesome. I love that. Right. It went great. We set out these goals and we crushed pretty much all of them. We didn't have any real failures, I would say, and not in the metaphorical sense that failures are just learning lessons. We had no failures. It was just a great year, and it grew and it grew. And I like to think year 1 was just a sample. In year 2, here we go. Like, what are we going to accomplish? We have so much potential and so much momentum, especially coming from the soiree too, which was just the best. It was so much fun. It was huge.
Great. Yep.
The momentum is here, and you're right. We have some goals for this year. And for next gen is, we want to do these events. We want the 505s to be big, the 805s. There's a lot of them. And I don't know if you were about to say something, but the big one for me is to launch off one of our nonprofit initiatives, where you had mentioned earlier about, getting new connections, new people, just new friends even. We don't have a name for this program yet, but something along the lines of next gen with the nonprofit community, where we have opportunities to go as a group, all young professionals, and serve as volunteers for random nonprofits around our locality that are part of the chamber. And we have some coming up that I'm excited to try finally and announce for the first time ever.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Our first one is going to be with the Friends of the Rappahannock. They're great friends of mine. I'm no pun intended. I did not think about that. They're great friends of mine. I love them. I've volunteered for them before. They're great members of the community and of the chamber. And on April 5th, they have the event that we can volunteer for. They only need 10 volunteers, so these spots are limited. It is at Bowman's Distillery. It is bourbon on the half shell. It is live music and bourbon tastings and oysters and all sorts of fun. And we get to go as volunteers and give them a workforce to make sure this event's a success and they can fundraise and all that good stuff.
Yeah, certainly sounds like it's going to be a really cool event. And I'm just the community outreach and the nonprofit support. I mean, and the other committee members we have are great, have great connections into that world. So I'm just super excited to see what we as Next Gen can start to do, because I think that is such a great way of coming together in fellowship. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's like, yeah, we're benefiting the community, but it sounds cliche, but you really do benefit so much yourself. And, we have a day of service, we call it, at SimVentions, where
awesome.
We basically all take off work and go and work at community service projects around the area. And
that's great. And wow, that's a big undertaking.
It is. And I'll tell you, it's been, it's a lot of work that goes into, setting it up, and, but it's amazing that you just make such good friends and you meet other coworkers, and, you kind of talk about work, but you really start to make like connections where it's like, folks that you wouldn't normally talk to, they may not be at the same office, and you can bond over a couple things. So like that, so it's good to, like, when you do things like that, you can take a step back, but while you're still giving to the community. And so I just think that's a great way of people to meet each other and talk and hang out, where it's called community service, but I don't, it doesn't really feel like service a lot of times.
Yeah, especially, people, I mean, depending on the, what your volunteer role is. And for this one, definitely a more fun one. Like there's like registration and ID check and this and that, but sometimes when's the Rappahannock, like, they're doing river cleanups, which are so fun, but that is definitely service. That is some work. That's tough. But I'm with you, but you're right. You meet all these new people, whether it's your coworkers that you went with, and you're seeing them in a different light, and working together on something that you've never done before. But two, I would also say, one, meeting that nonprofit, not that we're necessarily doing nonprofit matchmaking, but kind of. This idea to give back as a Next Gen group came from Sophia de Hoyos. She's on our committee. She works at RGI. She really wanted to push this, and we're finally doing it. And she did this because she volunteers at SPCA every weekend, and it's her favorite thing. She looks forward to it all week. She loves it. It's just a huge sense of purpose for her. Some of these people that come to their Friends of the Rappahannock event we're helping with might become a future or forever volunteer for them, or get implemented and in their community and help out. Which to me, if that happens, I'm so happy. I would love more and more to volunteer. I work with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and that's the one I kind of am giving my time to now. But Friends of the Rap is, of course, as well, and I want to give people that opportunity. For there's that intrinsic value of it. You're helping the community, but there's so much pride in that.
Yeah, and that's what going back to getting excited about Next Gen. It's really because it doesn't have to be a tangible, like we're doing economic development in Fredericksburg. Like it really is about the folks that are participating in it. It's like. It's like you get to meet folks and talk to them, like, what other charities and nonprofits are you involved with, and start to, you can point each other in different directions and make friends. And, I like to, tell people at SimVentions, like, hey, come out to a Next Gen event, because you might meet your future roommate, your future best friend, your future, somebody that might be at your wedding or something like that in the future. So it's
absolutely. Who knows who you can meet, or your future, lawyer, or your future, maybe you make a great connection for an opportunity for work, anything, or like you said, purely social.
Yeah.
You might need those friends.
And then, and you just never know where things might lead. But that's what I like about it's kind of like you start with the personal, like, this personal touch, the personal growth, and then the fellowship, and then there's obviously you never know, we might start a business together. So.
Yeah, we would love that to be the origin story of someone's entrepreneurial endeavor. I would love that, where the next big company comes from us. That's awesome. Well, hey, man, other stuff going on in Next Gen World. We have that 805 that we were talking about earlier at Anita's. Come get a free cup of coffee. That's the 27th. Before that, though, also at Anita's, there's a ribbon cutting. That's the 20th. I'm hoping this podcast is released by then.
Okay.
I'm a productive guy. I'll edit it before then, but that's the Thursday. The 20th. Is it 20th or 19th? I'm going crazy. It's the 20th. Yep. It's the 20th, and they have a ribbon cutting. So I'm inviting Next Gen to come out. That's at 4 p.m. But after they're done, we're going to walk across the hall to Courtyard by Marriott for a 505, where we, just, again, social network and hanging out. And as well, since Anita's ribbon cutting's there's going to be a big crowd. Everyone wants to go see that.
And if you're a normal non-social like engineer type like myself, and you're listening to this and you're like, that sounds like I'm not going to know anybody, or it sounds like I'm just a little nervous to go. You can come up to me. Yeah,
Jacob's your friend.
Jacob will be your friend. If you say, hey, I heard you on the podcast and you said you would be my friend, I will certainly talk to you, and I'll probably pick your brain about exactly what you do for work, and
there should be a passcode though, so they know that they're your friend.
Password
or a secret prompt, your handshake. So then it's.
Should we do "You'll Never Walk Alone"?
You'll never.
for those of you that aren't soccer fanatics, it's the
Liverpool song.
The Liverpool song, and
do they have to sing it in its entirety?
And that we have to sing in entirety. It's the greatest home atmosphere in the world. So,
it is pretty cool. It is very cool.
And I hope to go over there one day. So and check out a game. But You'll Never Walk Alone.
That's the passcode. If you see Jacob and you want to be his friend, you have to be a fake Liverpool fan.
A fake Liverpool fan,
or a real one. If you maybe someone's like, oh sweet, I love Liverpool.
That's the problem, is I'm going to forget about this conversation. Somebody's going to come up to me and I'll just start talking Liverpool to them and not realize that they just used it as the secret passcode.
Why? What are people from Liverpool called? Like scoozers?
Oh, Scousers. Yeah.
That's not offensive, is it?
It may have been at one time, but I think maybe maybe we've I say we have never even been there, but it's embraced. So
okay.
I think it's more in reference to the dialect that they have.
The accent and such. Okay. Yeah, as long as I don't get in trouble for I think it's a normal I swear I've heard it in other podcasts.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So some scouse. Do you know scouse?
And my,
yes, he does.
My wife will love this. So I couldn't do it right now, but I have in my free time gone on YouTube and looked up Scouse words so that I can start saying like they say bevies, so they're instead of beverage, so
bevies.
But the hardest part is like you got to get like the specific way of saying it, not just like the what they're saying and stuff. So I've got to work on it.
I believe in you. Next time I see you, I'm going to quiz you on your scouse. There's an American soccer player. His name's Anthony Robinson, but he was born and raised in Liverpool. Mm-hmm. The whole international soccer thing I'm not going to get into, but he can do that and still play as an American player, even though he's scouse. And there's just like an ongoing joke. He's the world's first American scouse player, or world's first scouse American, whatever you want to say it. So, but he's awesome, by the way.
I'm still holding out hope that he's going to come over and join our side at some point. So
he's a left back, I feel like.
We have one of my favorite players as our left back right now, Andy Robertson from Scotland. But
he's great, but he's getting older.
He's going to
need a replacement, and who better than Anthony?
And Robinson's been looking pretty good this year. So,
and he's scouse. I feel like he would want to go to Liverpool,
But knowing you as a Chelsea fan, you're probably thinking you're just going to steal him from us at the last second, like you've done on the last couple of.
Well, it hasn't worked out for us, but that does happen. That does happen. We do like to come in, and that's how we got Caicedo and someone else, I'm sure. But I would love for him to go to a big club because he's American. Obviously, Chelsea would be better for me. We might try. We have Cucurella though. I don't know if we have space for two amazing left backs. Mm-hmm. We've lost everyone on the podcast.
I know that's talking soccer.
5 minutes later of soccer.
Yeah.
Alrighty, man. I think that's good. I don't know what else is here to talk about, but make sure you guys come out to those events as well. If you're interested in volunteering with us, email me. We are only taking 9 people. So I will take those people in personally and register you as a small group that will go out together.
And where can folks go to find out about maybe the next event or the next,
Great
if they
question.
can't make that?
Great question. So we have a LinkedIn page. We have an Instagram page. We got Facebook as well. I'm putting out a Next Gen newsletter. I was going to send it right actually before this podcast started, but it's been too long editing it. I'll get there when I get there. And now I want to put the podcast on it. But yeah, so there'll be a newsletter. So if you have an email, you can sign up for it on our website too. And of course, we have a website where you can follow everything. Definitely working on a way to make sure people get Next Gen news as much as they want to. Not that we're that busy, but we definitely got stuff for you to do.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing a lot more here in 2025, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm pumped that you're part of the committee and that you got to come here today and podcast. This is Jacob's first time podcasting. You would never know. He's a pro. Yeah. Like I said, if you see him in public, you can be his friend. You just have to talk about Liverpool, sing about You'll Never Walk Alone. This is Next Year Unscripted. Huge shout out to some of our partners and sponsors. Couldn't do this without Hub International and Mayturn Staffing. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, Jacob, let's have a good day. Happy Valentine's Day, brother.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, man. I'm not telling you on record my Valentine's story and how bad I messed that up, but we'll let people have a hint. All right. Next Gen
Come to the event and you can ask about it. That's
that's a secret.
Everybody asked Trey about his Valentine's story. So.
No, hit and run record button. Edit that out.